Oh yeah, sexy biscuits. Nice.
Long boys blues, 1975. A YouTuber's on the rise. Reviewing games late at night and sometimes friends. But Long boys blues, 1975.
Hey YouTube, Longboys Post 1975 and welcome to a very random video that I did not think I would be making today. I had to go into the attic just now because when we were getting the Christmas decorations down and shit like that, accidentally knocked the antenna for Freeview downstairs. I mean, we have like on demand and all that shit hooked up to it, but just for ease and sheer laziness, we still have like an aerial hooked up to it. So if you can't be fucked to go into a myriad of different remotes and different plug-in boxes and stuff like that, you could just turn it on AV and then just, you know, go through terrestrial. But because we knocked it, it means basically the signal's jumping all over the shop, and particularly when it gets like really cold or really windy and rainy, it would affect it and you couldn't watch anything, which, to be perfectly honest, didn't bother me because I think any time where you can watch the BBC is money well spent. Anyway, so I went up into the attic, and going up into my attic is not fun. It's one of those ones. I mean, I did videos on this years ago called Vintage Adventures in the Attic. There is a playlist, look it up if you should so feel. But we don't have boards across the entire floor of the attic. We have beams and we have the occasional board, and obviously you can't put your foot through the beam, or between the beams I should say. Think that bit in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Or you will go through, only we won't stand on a bunk bed, we'll go pissing through the roof and fall 6 foot onto a floor. Or a bedpost. Choose your poison, if you will. And so I had to go up there to fuck around with the aerial, and I thought, while I'm up there, there's a big ass box of ZX Spectrum games up here somewhere, and I want to bring them down. Just to go through them, just for shits and giggles, not even to make a video or stuff like that, because I really wasn't going to make a video on any of this, but obviously now you've seen the thumbnail, you'll know why I have to make a video on this. So I went up there looking for this box of games after I fucked around with the aerial, and I could not find it, and I was really annoyed and pissed off. And then I turned around and I saw something there on and off I've been looking for since I've had a YouTube video, so I could make a video on it, and also just to see if it still works, which is the eventual plan for this bad boy. And well, yeah, because it's a massive part of my childhood, and I've been looking for this, like I said, on and off for 10 years, and I've never found it. So I don't know if the ZX Spectrum fairies have come along in the last couple of months, years, days, whatever, and found this for me, for they knew that I very much wanted to see it. Or someone else has been fucking around in our attic for other reasons and stuff, you know, getting stuff out and things like that. Because there's a whole myriad of treasures and wonders up there, including clearly a haunted picture. Go and see my previous, or my really, you know, Ventures in the Attic series of videos. You'll see what I mean. I didn't want to film it again. Yeah, so I don't know if someone else has been fucking around up there, but I literally, and I was using my torch, there's a light up that you can drop down and plug in, but I'm not sure what you need to know. I'm using my torch and I find it around, and I stuck my hand like that, and I literally went, the noise was, very tactile keyboard, springy, flat on the right hand side, no way. And I looked down, and it's our childhood ZX Spectrum Plus 3. Look at that beast. Tell me, one for the thumbnail. Tell me that is not a thing of beauty. I cannot believe what good nick this is in. I gave it a quick wipe down, nothing serious or anything like that. I've got the power unit. I'm jumping ahead of myself, but I'm going to leave this in the airing cupboard for a week because I'm not going to try and power this up when it's been in the attic with no silicone gel and not particularly well protected from the elements and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm going to leave it in the airing cupboard for a couple of weeks, and I'm going to see if it fires up. And if it does fire up, I'm pretty sure the RGB lead that I bought for the 464 that Novabug sent me will work on this, because anyone who knows their homework, again I'm jumping ahead of myself, will know that this is basically an Amstrad Spectrum. But then there's one CRT left in the house with an RGB on it. It's only a 17 inch. I'm going to see if I can get this to work. Anyhow, why is this a big deal for me? Well, let's let's go a little bit back into the history of Sir Clive Sinclair. My first computer, obviously I'm going to cross streams on various vlogs and stuff like that I've done. Oh, that's where the reset button is. Who knew? Yeah, various vlogs I've done over the years. But I still got to give you a little bit of history. 1982, Sir Clive Sinclair released the ZX Spectrum 16K and 48K rubber mat keyboard. We had the 48K, which was basically the machine that made me and my twin brothers and a whole host of people. You have no idea. Well, I'm sure you do if you're British. How big that machine was in this country. Turned us into gamers. Made us gamers. You could argue that the arcades made us gamers first, and the ZX Spectrum refined it. But yeah, basically the ZX Spectrum made us into gamers. We always fought hand over fist with the Commodore 64 kids. The Amstrad kids were always neutral. Who knew how ironic that would turn out to be with Amstrad? But yeah, this machine was absolutely fucking huge. Clive was always a little bit pissed off that it was never taken seriously and was just used as a games machine, whereas other people, like the bloke who made the BBC, was always really annoyed that everyone took his machine more seriously as an educational toy, a machine, and not as a games machine. He's like programmers who made software for it and stuff like that. So neither one of them were very, very happy. But Sir Clive, and this, he was way ahead of his time, and I love you, Sir Clive, but still, even you don't get a pass on fucking green cars. Yeah, so he came up with the C5, which was a electric car, trike, you know what it is, three-wheel, pedal assisted, had a washing machine engine, battery powered trike, and it was his future, and he had a whole range of them planned, but ultimately it sank the company. So in 1986 he sold his name and everything else to Amstrad for £5 million in 1986. Now obviously the Amstrad made the 464 CPC, which was very popular in the United Kingdom, but just nowhere near as popular as ZX Spectrum, and he made the CPC 6128, which obviously the Amstrad had a cassette deck built into it, and the 6128 had a disk drive built into it. Can you see where I'm going with this? So when he bought Sinclair, lock, stock and barrel, if you will, for £5 million, mine, £5 million in 1986. So Clive's last machine, I'm not sure when the QL came out, but that was a business machine and a complete fucking failure, so that doesn't count, was the toast rack, which is my holy grail of Spectrums to own, but good luck with that, Dave. They're very expensive. That was 1985, and that was a 1 to 8K machine, and it had a keyboard like the 48K Plus, which we also had because my dad upgraded the. This is all over the shop. I do apologise. The 48K rubber mat, took the gubbins out of it and put it into a 48K Plus keyboard, because you could do stuff like that. Stuff was either you bought it or it was kit with Sinclair back in the day. Not just Sinclair, a lot of other people. But that was Sir Clive's last machine, and so obviously when Amstrad acquired the company, they wasted no time whatsoever milking that brand. Although, having said that, the 1 to 8K Plus 2 is a jump on point for a lot of later ZX Spectrum fans and stuff like that. And you know, if you have the Spectrum in any form whatsoever, then you're still a brother to me. But so he bought the Spectrum line of machines, or range of machines, in line with his own machine. So he released a 1 to 8K Plus 2, which was a grey keyboard, but much like the CPC 464, a lovely tactile keyboard, because even on the 48K Plus and the 1 to 8K Plus, the keys were not rubber met, that dead zombie flesh thing going on that one, but they were in line. They were not nice to type on. So he brought it in line with the Amstrad and gave it a proper keyboard, and it had a data recorder here, which you and I and anyone else who's fucking normal would call a tape deck. But you know, for sheer convenience and stuff like that, I think it was about £129 when it came out, and came with like 6 games and shit like that. Yeah, and it was very popular. Had some compatibility issues, but on the whole was pretty banging. And then there was 1 to 8K A, or was that the A? And then the one that was this colour was the B, which fixed some issues and stuff like that. So that was released in 1987. So less than a year after purchasing the company, he banged these bad boys out. So then obviously he banged out in 1987 also the 1 to 8K Plus 3, which has the same, I want to say, is it proprietary? Because is it an Amstrad format? It's that noise. It's a different disc, if you will. Well, it's made by Maxwell, so it's obviously, I guess it's not proprietary, but you know what I mean. It's not like a 3.5, and it's not like a 5 1/4 or whatever. It's somewhere in between, and it's quite solid and stuff like that. But yeah, so he basically made, you know, like it was the Spectrum equivalent of the C612. I can't remember. I'm probably butchering that. Sorry, Amstrad kids, if I'm butchering it, but ultimately I'm a Spectrum fan, so bite me. What are you going to do about it? And yeah, so you're probably thinking, well, I'm pretty sure, Dave, in 1987, you were in Master System town. Yes, I was, very much so. But that's not to say I still didn't absolutely love and adore the family computer, which was the ZX Spectrum, and still used it very, very much because I did. Also, if you see my nostalgic memories of the ZX Spectrum Plus 3, so I'm not going to go massively into it, I'm just going to touch upon it. We got this, I think it pretty much sure it was the year of launch. It was after I spent a week away in camp at school. My dad found it cheap somewhere, and our mum drove to, I want to say Keynsham. I haven't watched that video in years. Doing what you did back then with a fucking map. Can you imagine kids doing that now? Take their phone off them and say, you got to go and find this fucking place by 5 o'clock tonight, or the person's going to sell the product that they're holding for you, and it's the only one you'll ever get at that price. Yeah, they couldn't fucking do it, could they? But yeah, so we got it, and then we also got a multi-phase for it, which you plug in here. I'll go over the sockets in a minute, and you could just press a red button, then you could back up games to disk, and that's what we basically did with it. And I used this as a save state, so I could progress through games that were normally too difficult for me. But bottom line is, I have so much nostalgia for this. Easily as much nostalgia as I do have for my Sega Master System. Maybe not quite as much as I do for my Mega Drive, because basically that was the pinnacle, as far as I'm concerned, of my childhood computing or gaming, if you will. But absolutely fucking loved this. Absolutely loved it. Don't know how successful it was. Don't know how many units it sold. I know it was considerably more expensive than the Plus 2. But look at it. You can say what you like about Amstrad if you're a Spectrum fan, but the man knew how to put together a computer, and the man knew how to make a keyboard. So on the left, on the left hand side, I'm aware this is all over the shop, but what are you going to do? Enthusiasm is the word I'm feeling here. Nostalgia too. Use only Sinclair range of joysticks. So 2 joystick ports and a reset. Because if you remember, originally back on the day on the ZX Spectrum, when we used to reset, we used to pull the power out the back and put it back in, which was notoriously bad for the power socket on the computer. Completely fuck up and damage your computer, although ours was fine. So on the 48K Plus and the 128K Plus, they put a reset button, and he obviously kept that, I guess, to stop people damaging it on here as well. But you could get could you get adapters? Could you put a joystick adapter in the back? I always thought that was a bit shit, that he made you buy. No more, are they 9-pin DINs? They look like it, but you had to use a Sinclair joystick, of which we have one, and I will show you. And that was, because they were shit. QuickShot 2 was the best, was the daddy, was the Pro. 125 Cheetah Plus, which was a very cheap equivalent of the QuickShot 2. It looked like the same. You always thought you were getting the same bang for buck, but those things were wankly made and wore out in fucking tin biscuits. But yeah, so you had to use Sinclair joystick, which I thought was a bit shit. Then on the back you have tape sound, because you could still plug it. People forgot about this. Oh, I can only use discs, because the discs on this were well expensive. They were like $15.99 for a single game. Although ours had a bunch of discs that came with it, like a bunch of Ocean compilation and Imagine compilations, but we just bought ones from W.H. Smith's and Boots and used the multi-face in the back to just back up games to disc. You needed a multi-face to use them, but the thing is, if your mate had a multi-face as well, then you know, you're just an exclusive club. So tape sound there, so you could still connect a tape recorder. TV out, and then you had RGB. So I had an RGB on it, which is what I'm going to try and use to connect it to the portable we still have. Auxiliary, and you have a MIDI. There you go. Why don't I just show you an expansion port there, and then also you have that's the power unit right in the middle. A bit awkward. And then another expansion port for your printer or your disc B, in case you wanted 2 disc drives. Really not sure why you want 2 disc drives. Anyway, on the top, so you have the Sinclair logo that looks absolutely lush. 1 to 8K ZX Spectrum Plus 3, and then just in case you've got 1 to 8K motherfuckers, and then also the floppy disk drive with a Spectrum Rainbow going through it. Absolutely banging. There is the bottom, in case you are interested. I'm sure if you are interested in Plus 3s, you've seen a million of these videos, and each and every one of them will be far better than mine. And then there are 2 screws on the side holding it together, and it's a beast. It's a solid beast. Like I said, I had a Master System. But you couldn't get over the fact that we could still pirate games with this. It was incredibly cheap. And if you got a Spectrum, you got access to like tens of thousands of games. So as much as I love my Master System, I was restricted by my money. Whereas this still was very relevant to us, even in 1987, which means it's only really 5 years old, the format, I guess, at that point, halfway through its cycle. But yeah, it was still incredibly relevant for me and my brothers. And also now we had a proper keyboard. That bad boy, that's just so nice. Thumbnail. But what else did I find? Well, I found a Sinclair joystick. Now, if you're going to make your machine that you can only use proprietary Amstrad products, right, then make that product good. Because these are the shittest joysticks ever. No trigger, like that. Nothing on here. It's got sucker cups. Yeah, lick those after being in my attic for fucking 10 years. Pretty sure you'll get fucking tetanus or something. Or Weil's disease was the term I'm looking for. Tetanus? Hollow, cheap, nasty and crap. And that's not just because it's been in the attic for pushing 40 years. These joysticks were just shit. They were regarded shit at the time and age has not treated them well at all. But yeah, fail there. Fail. Does it still go in? Awkward. Yes, it does. There's something quite satisfying about that. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to leave it plugged in. What are you going to do about that? Then, here's the amazing thing. Why I want to leave it in the airing cupboard. Why I want it like that is because that's where the airing cupboard is. Because the airing cupboard fixes all, in case you wondered. It's still got the beast. Look at that for a power unit. And that's heft. That's absolute heft. Filthy plug. And then on the other end, at least they gave you like a proper amount of cable. Pay attention, companies today. There is your power unit plug-in. Does it still fit? Help if I put it in the right one, wouldn't it? Awkward. Especially if you did buy a dinner. And here's the thing, it's still got, when we bought this, there was no box or anything like that, but the person had taken care of it. It's still got the protective piece. I cannot believe this after 40 odd fucking years, or pushing 40 years I should say, of being in the attic. The protective piece of polystyrene, or styrofoam depending upon where you live, taped across the Sinclair logo, which I'm just going to show you a little bit there, but I'm not going to peel it off because it's lasted this long and I felt, you know, let's leave it on there. And gubbins, this is proper. This weighs more than a house brick. Seriously, way more than that. I don't know what's in it. I don't know what power this bad boy needed. But yeah, a lot apparently. And then here's the other amazing thing. There was a light gun released for it that you think looks suspiciously like the Light Phaser by Sega, but that's because both these machines had somewhat at some point a Virgin Mastertronic connection. I can't be asked to explain it. And it's also got like, is it an RJ45? I don't know. Don't correct me on that. I don't fucking people go, actually, it's because you know what I mean. The fucking phone looking thing is what I'm saying. But yeah, ooh, get WD-40 on that. But yeah, because there was this thing where everyone wanted a light gun. I think it got like 6 games packed with it. There was an Imagine box set, so you got Operation Wolf and stuff like that. But it put a big white line down, a big white line across like that for how it did the refresh or whatever to work out where, you know, this was pointed, and it really took you out of it. At that point, because I did have a Light Phaser, I won it from a magazine on my Master System. I was like, what's the point? But again, my dad came across this really cheap. I think it was like, even back then, it was like a tenner with the pack in game. So, you know what? Fun to play. Fun to play. Where does this go then? In the auxiliary? Or the MIDI? I'm going to guess. Yeah. Oh. Ah, listen to that. Listen to that. But yeah, so I mean, they were a thing. There was a bond pack for the ZX Spectrum Plus 2, wasn't there? I think this is what that came from. I don't think it was ever packaged with the Plus 3. And on the front it had the kid, or in the advert, look it up, it's on is there someone in it? He's in one. No, he's in the one for the PlayStation. He wasn't in this one, but there's someone pretending to be Q, and you got the kid reading the manual and scratching his head like this. Now pay attention, 007. 10 years time from now, they'll want you to be played by a woman, and the movie will absolutely tank. But don't worry, they'll just say you're all racist, misogynistic, sexist bastards. Sorry, couldn't help myself. It's one of my videos. So yeah, light phasers still with it. And here's the really cool thing, still have the beast of a manual that is in surprisingly good nick, but damp has not been kind to. They made manuals back then, mind. They made manuals back then. So yeah, just a bit of fun, just a bit of shits and giggles. I'm generally going to try and get this bad boy working, but yeah, I have a massive amount of nostalgia for this. Not as much as my 48K rubber mat, not as much as my 48K Plus, probably not as much as my Mega Drive, as I said. But I have, look at it now, it looks like it's on fucking life support. I still have a massive amount of nostalgia for this beast. So we got to see if we can get it working. Then if we can get it working, can you listen to this, mind? Oh, but this is the one, this is the killer noise. Oh, pornographic. Yeah, if I can you still buy these? Someone answer that question. If you can still buy these, the disc, then I know where the mic face is, and fucking tons of games. I'm going to see if I can get this bad boy working. Yes, I am that person that emulates everything else, but when it comes to the ZX Spectrum, I really wouldn't mind playing it on actual, real hardware. So, anyway, just a bit of a nostalgic walk down memory lane for me, to be fair, but as you know, I like to share these things with you, but I found my Sinclair ZX Cough Amstrad ZX Spectrum 128K plus 3, and I cannot tell you how incredibly happy I am that I did so. Anyway, as always, I'm serious, you know, just look, see that. It's just stuck on there really poorly. And then 18, that'll be the quality control bloke, won't it? Anyway, sorry, elongating the video that doesn't need to be elongated. Yeah, anyway, as always, I'd love to know what I still can't get over it's done on a fucking phone jack. But yeah, love to know what you think, especially if the Plus 3 was your first experience of the ZX Spectrum. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you later.